Hello and welcome to the Update program. I'm Michael David, and my guest today via telephone is Don Stump. He's the president of Christian Church Homes. Don, thanks for being on the Update program today.
Wonderful. It's my privilege to be on your show. I'm going to enjoy a chance to share a few stories.
Well, yes. Well, tell us, first of all, what exactly is the Christian Church Homes and how long has it been around and what city did it originally start in?
Sure. Christian Church Homes is a faith-based nonprofit that serves low-income seniors. We build affordable housing with supportive services. We've been doing that since 1961. I think that means we've been in business for about 57 years.
Wow.
We were originally founded in Oakland, California, and we're still here in Oakland. We are one of the largest providers of senior housing in the city of Oakland.
And just last night I was driving past your property in Santa Ana. It seems like you guys, and that was a very nice property in Santa Ana, by the way. It was a high-rise building, and I'm wondering, I understand you're all over California. Are you in other states as well?
Yeah, we are in 9 states currently. We get calls from churches all around the country saying, could you work with our church to build affordable housing? So over time, we've ended up in 9 states: California, Arizona, Oregon, Texas, Kansas, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Georgia, and Idaho.
Wow.
I had to write those down. So there's so many of them.
Now, well, actually, I wanted to ask you, what is the mission of, let me just call it CCH, Christian Church Homes, CCH, and why is it so important?
Yeah, in a nutshell, the mission is providing affordable housing and caring communities. So clearly there are 2 parts to that. Affordable housing is so very, very important to low-income seniors on a fixed income. But beyond the bricks and mortars of affordable housing, we like to go a little bit further and make sure that there is a sense of a caring community within the property. Try to provide extra services, extra staff, extra recreational activities to make sure that the seniors have a sense of living in a true caring community and not just inside of 4 walls all by themselves.
Now, I'm going to ask you a little bit later about the senior citizens and everything like that, but is CCH a nonprofit organization?
Oh, yeah, sure. We have a nonprofit status with both the federal government and also the state of California, where we are a what's called a 501c3. We are a nonprofit corporation for all 57 years.
Now, how many senior citizens have you served over the years by giving them affordable housing?
A whole bunch. I would say that with 60 properties in 9 states, probably adds up to around 100,000 seniors since our inception. It's been a tremendous mission to be able to help so many folks enjoy a quality of life.
Now, what do current statistics say as far as how many people we have in this country that are over 65 or I should say, how many people we have that will be over 65 in the next 25 years?
Yeah, those numbers are pretty stunning. I think the country is currently at around 45 million seniors, but we are heading to more like 75 million seniors,
Wow.
which is a direct correlation to the baby boomer phenomena. All the folks that were born just after World War II are rapidly aging, and we are going to be in a stunning situation in another decade or so. I think we'll be at 23% of the population will be over 65. I don't know if that's ever happened in human history before, to have 23% of a society, of a country, to be over 65. It's just an amazing number. 1 in 3 households will be headed by a senior. So it's some very large numbers to be dealing with here coming up soon.
Wow, and I know you definitely need funding to tackle this problem, and you have a couple of funds here that I want you to talk about. Tell me, what is the Resident Care Fund?
Yeah, we do have funds that people can donate to CCH if they want to help us support seniors. The Resident Care Fund is the most direct way to help a low-income senior. We collect money from donations and from our own employees who want to set aside a part of their paycheck to directly support a senior. Those are cases where a senior might have an unusual incident. They broke their glasses. They have an unusual medical need. They have a medical bill that they can't pay, and we are able to chip in and help support their unusual expenses. We've been doing that for about 6 years now, and we have helped, I don't know the exact number, but I know that we've helped many, many of our seniors with direct financial support.
And you also have something called the Dignity Fund. What is that?
Yeah, the Dignity Fund is our the chance to support CCH at the broadest level. It goes into our fund to help operate and support all of our senior communities. We have the 61 sites and almost 300 employees, and donations to the Dignity Fund will support the operation of CCH.
And you also have something called the New Hope New Homes Fund. What is that?
Yeah, that's an opportunity to support new development of new properties. People who want to commit funds to building a new facility in a new town. Building properties is a very expensive operation, anywhere between $10 and $40 million to build a building. So folks who want to donate directly to the construction of a new retirement community would support the New Hope New Funds program.
And it sounds like you guys do a lot of things there. We're probably not going to cover all of it in this interview. Do you have a newsletter that people can subscribe to if they'd like to stay up to date on all the things you're doing at CCH?
Yep, we do have a newsletter. We have a website that drives most of our communication functions. Pretty easy to find. You can just search for Christian Church Homes, or you can type in the specific address, which is www.cchnc.org. And when you get to that website, there's the usual list of tabs across the top. The one that says About Us has a chance to sign up for our newsletter. So you can find that newsletter on our public website.
And do you have a phone number as well?
Sure. We have a general number here in Oakland, area code 510-632-6712. And that's answered by a receptionist that can refer you to any part of the company that you need to talk to.
And since we live in the 21st century, I got to ask, are you on social media? And if so, which ones are you on?
Yeah, we are on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and you'll find those on our website also, or you can just search within Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn and find our running commentary there.
Now, Don, there are so many great charities out there and ministries out there. Why is it so important to focus on providing affordable quality care in housing communities for senior citizens?
Well, we're just facing such a huge demand for affordable housing for seniors in the next few years. There are several factors coming together at the same time that create a big challenge. For a long, long time, the federal government played a major role in providing affordable senior housing. The Department of HUD, most folks know that HUD built affordable senior housing for almost 60 years. But about 8 years ago, HUD stopped doing that. So HUD is no longer building affordable senior housing. And the stuff that they did build in the early days, the 60s and 70s, is now 50 years old and it's beginning to deteriorate. So that creates a lack of supply. And we also have an increase in demand with the tremendous number of retiring baby boomers that are coming up. So you have that classic supply and demand curve there where demand is up and supply is down. So if these seniors on very limited income, people on minimum Social Security, receiving only SSI, supplemental security income, if we can't find an affordable place for them to live, they will be homeless. They'll be living in their kids' basements. There'll be a lot of very stressful and sad situations if the country doesn't step up and find a way to speak to senior housing.
And I understand it can be devastating for a senior citizen if something is just made not even their fault on the end of whoever they were supposed to receive the check from. If they just missed the one check, sometimes that can...
Absolutely. We currently have around 5,000 seniors. They all live month to month, waiting on a Social Security check to pay the bills. One bad turn of events, and you're really up a creek. If you have a surprise medical bill, we have many, many sad stories where a couple did manage to save up some money and for their retirement. One or the other ends up having a bad medical situation, a heart attack or something else, and their entire nest egg is gone. Mm-hmm. And now they are just living on their Social Security check or in a very hard place. So it's a common story for a senior to be in a very tight place financially.
And I remember hearing J. Vernon McGee talking about a guy who was retiring, and he said he felt like all of his money was stolen that he had saved up all of his life. But what happened is it wasn't stolen. It just had to deal with inflation. And because of inflation, all that money that he'd saved up had lost 60% of its value. So it felt
hmm
like he had been robbed, if you will.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways in which a senior can end up in a bad place. A crash in the stock market, inflation exceeding the rate at which your Social Security check is going up, medical surprises. Oftentimes, seniors will also pour out their heart to support their children and their grandchildren, and their resources go over there. Seniors are often abused sometimes. Financial abuse of seniors is pretty common. People scam seniors on the internet all the time. So it's a treacherous world out there for a low-income senior.
Now, as I said, I actually went by one of your properties, and it was a very, very nice location, very nice building you had there. But it seems like you do more than just provide affordable housing. You also create a caring community. Why is that so important?
Yeah, we definitely try to go the extra mile on that kind of thing. We want to make sure that, in my opinion, quality of life is determined by being in a caring community. Wherever you find that, in your retirement home, in your church, at the PTA, all folks, all humans are looking for a place where they can be in the middle of a caring community. So we want to make sure that our properties do go that extra mile. One of the very direct ways of doing that is to provide extra services. We have almost every property has what we call an employee called a service coordinator. The service coordinator's job is to bring extra supportive services into the campus, so that if a senior needs medical assistance or transportation, needs a new set of eyeglasses, the service coordinator can help a low-income senior arrange for those things. Those services are not available in just a regular apartment house. Only in a community where you go the extra mile are those extra kind of things available for the seniors.
And you also have something called FAB Days, FAB Days. What does FAB stand for?
FAB is a fun program where we kind of focus on art with seniors. It's family, art, and bonding. We apply to some foundations to receive some extra grant money to work with seniors and art. As I travel around our properties, I see that many of our seniors are artists at various levels. Some are beginning amateurs, and some are pretty darn good. So we have raised some extra money to put on art programs, and we try to do that in a way that creates kind of an intergenerational and inter-community type of event. We bring in art instructors and put on a program where kids and grandkids can show up and work with Grandma and Grandpa on doing some art programs. And it's a chance to do some bonding around the art issue, where grandparents and grandkids can get together and produce a piece and hang it on the wall. We've been doing that here in the Bay Area, and we have been to several of our sites with these type of extra programs.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Update program. I'm Michael David, in studio with my guest via telephone, Don Stump. He's the president of the Christian Church Homes, and you can learn more about them at cchnc.org. Again, cchnc.org. And we'll give that information at the end of the program, too. If you want to get a pen to write that down, you can do that as well. Don, has CCH ever defaulted on a commitment? I mean, when all the paperwork and all the work you've had to do, I mean, have you ever failed to complete a project on time or on budget?
Well, we have applied for many projects. Not all of them can come to fruition. You start the process. You try to secure the land. You apply for multiple sources of dollars, and there are times when you just cannot get enough dollars, and the deal never happens. But once a deal is secured, once we have a financial closing, and all the money is secured, the contractor is hired, the architect is hired, construction begins, we have never failed at that point. Once we get a deal together, we have always been able to finish the deal. But it's a reality in this day and age that not all deals get all the way to fruition. So we've had several that we've looked at and just could not get them off the ground.
And how many homes has CCH built for low-income seniors?
Oh, I think we've built around 30. We are currently operating 61, but for some of those, we were not the builder. Someone else was the builder, and they just hired us to be the daily manager. So out of our current 61, we've built about half of those.
That's great. Now, to balance your capital budget shortfalls, when, of course, HUD and other things like LIHTC are not enough, does CCH use home program funds or state funds or seller financing or affordable housing program funds?
Sure. Those are all major funds that we use on a pretty regular basis. The state of California has two primary agencies that work in this area. Cal HFA, California Housing Finance Agency, provides mortgages for the construction of affordable housing. We have Cal HFA mortgages on many of our buildings. The State Department of Housing and Community Development, HCD in Sacramento. HCD is the one that passes out grants to various nonprofits to build affordable housing. Recently, the voters of California passed what was called both Proposition 1 and Proposition 2. The state of California will soon be starting to pass that money out through the Housing and Community Development Department. All the nonprofits will be lined up to be applying for those dollars. That has produced about $6 billion in new money, but that has to cover the entire state and all the major urban areas. So it's very exciting in our world to see that Proposition 1 and Proposition 2 passed. So we'll be turning to the State Housing and Community Development Department to apply for those funds. The HOME program, I think I already mentioned that. The HOME program is a federal program passed out through the city, county, and state, and we have HOME dollars in many of our buildings also. Another smaller program that's not known by a lot of folks. Almost all banks are a member of the Federal Reserve and the Federal Home Loan Bank program. And the Federal Home Loan Bank program has a pot of money set aside for affordable housing. And that's called the Affordable Housing Program, AHP. And probably a third of our buildings have AHP dollars in it from the Federal Home Loan Bank. So you can see that it's a complicated puzzle that you have to put together here. In doing each deal, you have to decide what's available in this city or county, which programs will apply here. Is there any special type of funding that we can go after? And our job is to research all that and cobble all that together into a finished product.
And I understand some of your finished products, they actually include retail and commercial spaces in some of your developments. Is that right?
They can, for sure. When you put a building together in a certain area of a certain city, you are trying to serve the low-income seniors, but you're also trying to fit into the local situation, the local neighborhood, the local ordinances may call for some retail in that area. So it's not too uncommon to build a 4 or 5 story building, and the first floor is commercial, where you'll find some small local stores on that first floor area. And then above that are 4 or 5 floors of affordable housing. So you can definitely have a mixed-use site where there is some small commercial on the first floor and affordable above that.
Now, you also have, for the seniors who want to live where you are, you have something called open waiting lists. What are those?
Yeah, we don't have very many open waiting lists. It's a pretty telling story that very rarely can you just walk into an affordable property and apply and move in. We have waiting lists at almost all of our sites that are 2 and 3 years in length. It's quite possible that property has as many people on the waiting list as the number of apartments that are in the building.
Wow.
If there's 100 apartments, there's another 100 on a waiting list who are waiting to move in. So if you're on a waiting list, it's going to take 2 or 3 or 4 years to get to the top of the waiting list. So usually those waiting lists in the urban areas are pretty crowded. There in Southern California, in the city of Santa Ana, we have a long waiting list. In Oakland, San Francisco, Berkeley, we have long waiting lists. If you get in the Central Valley of California, the smaller rural cities, Modesto, Marysville, small Central Valley cities, you can find properties that are not in such demand and have shorter waiting lists. If you want to live in affordable housing in an urgent way and need to move in soon, You can go to anybody's website that does affordable housing and find their sites in rural areas. So sure enough, when you go to the CCH website and look at all of our properties that have open waiting lists where you can actually apply, those sites are in rural areas. You'll see that those sites are in small towns in Texas, small towns in Idaho, but larger cities with more demand, the waiting list is closed, not open, and you can't even get on the waiting list. Once we get 100 or 200 names on the list, there's no use keeping the list open anymore.
And I also wanted to say, Don, you actually said some stories you wanted to share with us about. Please share those with us.
Oh, gosh, we have 5,000 great stories. So some of the funner ones, we just recently are opening up a new property in Houston, Texas. The city of Houston has had a large campaign going to try and tackle the homelessness problem. Many urban areas have a homeless challenge. So we built a property in Houston that's 140 apartments, 70 for seniors and 70 for homeless folks, usually homeless seniors. So we have been moving in homeless seniors that have been living on encampments on the street, and that has produced some great stories. One of the ladies that we moved in there was a homeowner 10 years ago, and one of the hurricanes, I think Hurricane Rita in Houston, wiped out her house. So then she became a renter after that. The next hurricane wiped out her apartment house. So then she ended up homeless. Very bad luck, being hit by 2 hurricanes. After she'd been homeless for a couple of years, our social workers and caseworkers in Houston found her, asked her if she'd like to move into our new building, and now she's back to living in a 1-bedroom apartment and baking cookies.
Wow.
She is a great success story. We have many residents who are in tears on the day they move in. Some of our folks have been in very hard places, and now they're in a good place. So that makes for a lot of fun stories to tell.
Tell us one more, Don.
Well, I'm coming back a little closer to home in Oakland. We have a resident that lived in a rough part of Oakland where there were fights breaking out on a regular basis, and he is a lifetime artist. Loves doing painting. Oil painting is some of his works are around the country in a few well-known places. But he felt so threatened in the neighborhood that he lived in that he was uncomfortable painting there. There were shootings outside, and he felt in a pretty violent neighborhood, and he was too anxious to continue his artwork. He was able to move into one of our retirement communities in downtown Oakland, about 10 miles away from that neighborhood, and suddenly he had affordable rent and a safe place. And if he needed extra services, our service coordinator would arrange for those. So then he took up his painting again, and he's now producing painting, and we featured some of his painting in our home office. We asked him to loan some of his pieces to us, and we hung them in our hallways here. And it's a great story of a gentleman that was a lifelong painter, got scared out of painting, and then was able to return to painting after he moved into an affordable, comfortable place to live.
Can you tell us a Southern California story?
Well, we do have a property right there in Santa Ana. It's called Flower Park Plaza. It's on First Avenue. It has 200 apartments, and that's a property that we bought from another developer about 15 years ago. It was developed by a for-profit developer, and CCH is a nonprofit. We bought it and did about a $12 million remodel of the building, spruced it all up to modern standards. We're able to secure Section 8 for all the residents. So that property that you have driven by turned out to be such a success story. We rehabbed an older building. We got Section 8 for all the residents. They're living in a clean, modern place, and they all have affordable rent. So that one turned out very nicely.
Give us the website one more time and what the phone number if people want more information about CCH.
Yep, our website's available to anybody at www.cchnc.org. And our phone number is area code 510-632-6712.
And you're also on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
We are.
Well, Don, I'm so glad that you and Christian Church Homes are doing what you're doing to take care of the seniors in our community. We probably know one. If we don't know one, we will eventually be one, a senior citizen.
You will.
And anything can happen to us. Us younger folks, I mean, we make all these plans, but, things happen just like they happen to people today. And it's just nice that, CCH is there to help out and doing all they can. And I definitely appreciate all the work that you do.
Well, thanks. We do work hard every day, and it's nice to know that someone's out there appreciating that work.
Well, there's a lot of us. So thank you very much for being on the Update program today, Don.
Well, great. I enjoyed the time.
You've been listening to the Update program. My guest has been Don Stump. He is the president of Christian Church Homes. Their website is cchnc.org. Again, cchnc.org. You can also call them at 510-632-6712. Again, 510-632-6712. And you can also follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The views and opinions expressed on Update do not necessarily reflect those of management, sponsors, ownership, or staff of this station. We welcome your thoughts. Send them to Update Program, 3000 West MacArthur Boulevard, Suite 500, Santa Ana, California, 92704. Thank you for listening, and God bless.